hard to know where to begin.
Hasidim of Crown Heights. They are led by their Rebbe, and Harry Martin is here to continue the story of the Lubavitchers and the man they call the Messiah. Harry?
Well, built to the Lubavitcher community using any type of electric device on the Sabbath is considered work. Therefore, it's prohibited, and doing television interviews would fall into that category. So we want to make it clear that the interviews that you are about to see were conducted last week. Now, many in the sect say that even the name Crown Heights has a religious significance to it, and that it is no coincidence that the Messiah is living there. They also say that they have proof that their Rebbe is the man who will save the world, and even look to recent news events as evidence that Menachem Mendel Schneerson is the Messiah.
Here's the mitzvah tank. It is manned by Lubavitcher Hasidim. They cruise all over our area to try to bring Jews closer to Judaism. It is also part of the message of the Lubavitcher sect, which believes that this man, their 90-year-old spiritual leader, Menachem Schneerson, is the Messiah.
The concept of Messiah, the way the Christian world understands this, is very, very different to what we understand the way the Jewish world understands it.
The Lubavitchers believe that we are in the beginning of a messianic era, a time that is filled with hope and great conflict. They point to events like the tearing down of the Berlin Wall and the fall of communism as signs of hope, and they have no further to go than the Crown Heights riots as a sign of great conflict. So, the time is right.
The Rebbe is the Messiah according to what Maimonides says.
The Jewish scholar Maimonides wrote that every generation has a potential candidate to be the Messiah. Lubavitchers say that it is Schneerson, because he is responsible for miracles and predictions that prove it. For example, during the Gulf War, he predicted that Israel would be safe from Saddam Hussein's bombs. He was right. During Hurricane Andrew, he told people in Miami Beach that they would be safe. Daniel and Haya Winch lived there, and they stayed through the storm because the Rebbe said they'd be unharmed.
Once I was positive that the Rebbe had said that everything was going to be okay, I was very, very calm about the whole thing.
And his followers say that there are countless other examples of the Rebbe's blessings changing their lives. From the outcome of serious operations to the births of babies, thousands have sought his counsel. But there is conflict within the Lubavitcher sect itself about actually calling or declaring Schneerson the Messiah. Michael Schwartz has known the Rebbe for 50 years.
Well, the conflict is whether or not to announce the Rebbe as the Moshiach now, or to wait until he's summoned by the prophet Elijah.
Ads like this one have appeared in newspapers urging Schneerson to declare himself the Messiah. But critics within the more mainstream Orthodox Jewish community say that there's a danger here. Rabbi Mark Angel, the past president of the Rabbinical Council of America, said in a letter to the Jewish Week, through this blatant and frightening statement, the Lubavitcher movement has gone beyond the boundary of acceptable Jewish belief and behavior. Many thought that last Sunday the Rebbe would give some sort of sign that he was the Messiah. It was the 43rd anniversary of his taking over as leader of the Lubavitchers. There was no sign. And even those closest to the Rebbe himself, like Rabbi Yehuda Krinsky, hesitate when it comes to proclaiming the Rebbe as Messiah.
Those masses of Jews who unfortunately find this as a revelation of sorts is only because that they haven't had, unfortunately, the proper Jewish educational background.
And once again, we would like to make it clear that all the interviews for this special report were done well before the Jewish Sabbath began. You may be shocked by the claims of the Lubavitchers. You may disagree with their beliefs, but as one Jewish scholar pointed out, this is a messianic message with a smile. While the sect is trying to bring Jews closer to Judaism, they are not trying to convert anyone. And the bottom line here seems to be, here's what we believe. If you agree with us, fine. If not, we still believe that this man is the Messiah. Bill?
Thank you very much, Harry. Can't argue with that. When we come back, most of the time you can find her behind her desk, making sure that millions of people can go with the flow. Story of a woman who...
Thousands of its members believe their spiritual leader will soon be chosen as the Messiah. The I-Team's Joe Collum takes us inside the Messiah movement.
There'll be peace and harmony. There'll be no pain, no suffering. There'll be no hunger. That's the era of Moshiach.
The Rebbe is the Messiah. The time for his revelation is coming.
I can't say with absolute certainty that he isn't the Messiah, but I would bet all of my wealth on it.
It is Hanukkah in Crown Heights, Brooklyn this week, and there is an electricity in the air here. A belief that something monumental is about to occur, that God is about to reveal the Messiah, the man who will change the course of history for all time. And many here believe that the Messiah is a man now living in that building. Outside Crown Heights, though, some say the Messiah movement here borders on blasphemy. Crown Heights is home to an estimated 20,000 Lubavitch Jews. Lubavitch is an ultra-Orthodox Hasidic sect, and here life revolves around ancient tradition, from the way matzah is made to the clothes people wear. Yet in a city that thrives on cultural diversity, the scene on Kingston Avenue probably would not garner a second look from most New Yorkers passing through, if not for the signs. They are everywhere. Moshiach, the Messiah, is on the way.
That the Rebbe is the Messiah, and the Rebbe is the one who's, not only is he the Messiah, but that the time for his revelation is coming. Because the Rebbe told us that now is the time. The Rebbe did say that.
The Lubavitcher Rebbe has just made his entrance.
The Rebbe is Menachem Mendel Schneerson, the 91-year-old spiritual leader to Lubavitchers worldwide, a flock estimated to number anywhere between 100,000 and 1 million followers. But the Rebbe's influence reaches far beyond Lubavitch.
Rabbi Schneerson's a major figure in Jewish life and has been for more than 4 decades.
He took an organization which was rather small and rather ineffective in its work and turned it into a worldwide institution for Jewish learning and Jewish outreach, and he's unmatched, I think, in his organizational skills.
The Rebbe is Judaism's preeminent evangelist, opening more than 1,600 Jewish schools around the world.
Hey, how are you? Rabbi, how are you? How's it going?
In New York City, the Lubavitch operate an army of 40 vans called mitzvah tanks, which travel the streets encouraging non-practicing Jews to come back into the religious fold. But the heart of Lubavitch is at 770 Eastern Parkway in Crown Heights, the movement's world headquarters. This was where the Rebbe spent hours every Sunday greeting thousands of visitors, giving each a crisp $1 bill for charity. This was where the extent of the Rebbe's magnetism and charisma became clear.
The Rebbe is an extraordinary human being. His intellect is beyond comprehension of most people. A man of extraordinary heart, kindness, feeling and compassion for other people.
But not everyone is enamored with the Rebbe or his followers. 2 years ago, a car traveling in the Rebbe's entourage struck and killed a black child, lighting the fuse on 3 days of Crown Heights rioting. Yet the Rebbe's handling of the pogrom, as they call it here, did nothing if not enhance his standing among the Lubavitch.
Every night of the riot he came out and he spoke very positive forms. Let's go out, let's teach the people. I'm sitting and I said, what other great figure in this world would come out and say such positive things at a time when we were ready to lynch everybody here?
Since the rioting, many of the Rebbe's followers have begun calling him the Messiah, the savior Jews have been awaiting for thousands of years.
99.9.9 of Lubavitcher Hasidim throughout the world consider the Rebbe to be the Messiah.
Rabbi Shmuel Butman holds a number of high-ranking positions within the Lubavitch movement, including head of the international campaign to bring Moshiach, the Messiah. In September, he led a Moshiach rally in Moscow's Red Square. The rabbi leaves no doubt about what he believes is about to happen.
I am more sure that the Messiah is coming and that the Rebbe is going to be the Redeemer than you are that the sun is going to shine in the morning. And I'm saying it as sure as we're talking here in bright daylight.
This unshakable belief a Messiah is imminent can be traced directly to the Rebbe himself, who has said the Moshiach will be here in his lifetime.
The Moshiach is ready to come now. It is only.
This was the Rebbe 2 years ago in a brief interview with CNN. Since then, the Lubavitch has heralded the coming Messiah in videos, in a full-page New York Times ad, and on T-shirts and posters sold in a Crown Heights Messiah store.
The belief in Moshiach, the Messiah, is a fundamental principle of Jewish faith.
Rabbi Yehuda Krinsky is one of the Rebbe's closest advisors, who says anticipation of the Messiah is firmly rooted in Jewish scripture.
Our teachings tell us that in every generation there is a person who is potentially the Messiah, a person who could redeem the Jewish people, who would rebuild the temple in the Holy Land, and we would all return to live a life as is described in literature after Moshiach.
The Rebbe has never declared himself the Messiah, but his followers are convinced he is the only man alive who qualifies.
And so that's why you see a lot of people in Crown Heights saying that the Rebbe is Mashiach. This is a wish and a dream that everyone wants.
But outside Crown Heights, many Jews scoff at the Messiah movement.
Most rabbinic scholars view this whole thing with a combination of amusement and contempt.
Rabbi Eric Yaffe is vice president of the Union of American Hebrew Congregations, a Reformed Jewish organization. Yaffe is a critic of what he calls the Lubavitch movement's obsession with the Rebbe as Messiah.
Well, in my view, that's an extraordinary theological arrogance. And it's contrary to Jewish teachings, and it is certain to lead to disaster, just as false messianism has always led to disaster. And I believe there'll be a terrible crisis of faith among all of his followers who were certain that he was the Messiah.
Some believe the Lubavitch movement is already facing a crisis. The Rebbe's health is not good. Last year he suffered a stroke. He has no children, which makes him the first Lubavitch Rebbe without an heir to take his place. So the question, when he is gone, who will become the Rebbe?
That has never been a consideration. It has never been, and is not a consideration.
Others say the problem will be solved by a miracle. When God reveals the Rebbe as the Messiah, it will open an age of miracles. One will be that the Rebbe will never die.
You're talking about a world without strife. Isn't that one of the greatest miracles? You're talking about a world without sickness. You're talking about a world without death. So this is a minor miracle to make the Rebbe healthy.
If indeed they're that convinced that the Rebbe is the Moshiach, and if, as I suspect, they're wrong, then the future looks very bleak, I think.
At Manhattan's YIVO Institute, Dr. Alan Nadler, a former Orthodox rabbi, says the Messiah movement is making many Jews nervous, and that is taking a toll on the Lubavitch's estimated $100 million a year budget, which consists largely of donations from non-Lubavitch Jews.
My sense is that a lot of people who were very happy to give money to Lubavitch in the past because of their educational work are now reluctant, or becoming more and more reluctant because they find this bizarre.
But doubters outside Crown Heights will probably do little to dampen the enthusiasm here that the Messiah is about to arrive and that he is their Rebbe, and that the world will soon change forever.
The Messianic era is not only part of creation, it's the epitome of creation. It's the reason for creation. Therefore, it must happen.
Joe Collum, Channel 9 I-Team.
The Rebbe has told his followers to perform good deeds to show God it is time for the Messiah, whom he says could be revealed at any moment. How easy it seems that one man with a gun can bring about